While the man was urinating, he noticed something strange. He spotted a shining stone in the distance. Curious, he went over to it. He brushed the sand off the stone with his hand and thought it might be a piece of gold. He looked at his friend standing at a distance. He thought for a while. Then, finally, he called his friends over. They came and looked closely. They weren't sure if it was really gold. To be sure, the man took out his old lighter. He knew that if something turns black when heated, it meant it was fake. But even after exposing it to the flame for half an hour, its color didn't change at all. This meant it was pure gold, absolutely pure. Both were amazed and overjoyed. Then they started dancing and trying to extract all the gold. They dug for half a day, but the bottom layer of gold remained undisturbed. It was like a small mountain of gold. They tried to remove it with their hands, but the gold wouldn't budge. Then they tied it with a rope and tied the other end to a cart. They tried to pull it out with the cart, but the rope broke the next moment. They didn't give up and tried again, but the gold wouldn't budge. Finally, they started digging again. Night fell slowly. The place was desolate. There was a danger of stray dogs, so they lit a bigger fire to keep the animals from coming near. Sitting by the fire, they happily dreamed of the future, of how their lives would change after finding the gold. But the real problem remained. One man should stay here and guard the gold, while the other should go to a nearby small town and bring a small JCB digging machine. He explained that if he traveled east for 2 days, he would reach a small town. 1 day would be spent searching for the machine and 2 days returning, meaning a total of 5 days. During these 5 days, the man would have to endure the desert heat and weather, avoid stray dogs, and manage his food and drink carefully. The friend said he had more experience in the desert, so he could stay, but the man, without much thought, said he would stay there himself. After all, he had discovered the gold and didn't want to leave it behind. Seeing his insistence, the friend agreed. The next morning, they shared food and water. The friend took most of the water with him, pretending to cool the car's engine. As he left, he gave the man a satellite phone and promised to keep in touch. He said they would be very rich when he returned. With that, he drove away. The man first covered the gold with sand and then made a simple cover out of cloth so that no one could see it from a distance. The next day, while going to collect wood, the man found the wreckage of an airplane. He went closer and looked at it and thought it would be a wonderful place to live. He sat down inside the plane to rest for a while. But his mind was not at peace, because he couldn't see the mountain of gold from there. He was afraid that someone might steal it. To feel safe, he began removing parts of the plane and dragging them to his sleeping place. In a short while, he had built a small tent from the wreckage. After finishing, he stared at the mountain of gold in the distance. Satisfied, he slowly fell asleep, but the scorching sun prevented him from sleeping. His forehead was drenched in sweat. Enduring hunger and pain, he went back to the gold. Seeing such a huge pile of gold, he couldn't resist. He used all his strength to break off a small piece. Just then, the satellite phone rang. It was his companion calling. He told him that the car's engine had malfunctioned. It might take longer to return. Hearing this, the man became worried. He still had to stay in this desolate place. He told his companion that he had found a piece of gold and that he couldn't stay alone for long. He should come quickly and collect it. But his companion was now blinded by greed. He wasn't satisfied with just a small piece. He wanted the entire mountain of gold. He told the man to guard the camp and protect the gold. He would return as soon as possible. The man was helpless. He had to agree. During the night, the wild dogs came again. To save his life, the man took a torch and chased them away. He couldn't even vent his anger because if he weakened, the same animals would eat him. Finally, morning came. He wanted to return to the tent and rest, but hunger and pain prevented him from sleeping. He went out to look for water. Then he saw a poisonous snake slowly crawling towards him.
Driven by hunger, the man picked up a small knife and killed the snake. But the misfortune didn't end there. He had almost nothing left to eat, and what little water he had was almost gone. The situation had become dire. He went back to the wreckage to gather more supplies and strengthen his tent. Just then, he saw a man approaching him from a distance. He panicked. He quickly hid inside the ship and hid the piece of gold well. Then he emerged as if he were just another junk collector. It was a woman. The woman was puzzled as to why this man was picking up junk in this wilderness. The man offered him a snake's liver to eat, but he refused. Then she took out a bottle of water and deliberately began taking large sips, making gurgling sounds. Her motive was clear. She wanted to make the man even more thirsty, as she had figured he was hiding some small secret. When the woman realized he was still hiding something, she began to carelessly walk towards his camp. He was convinced the man was hiding a big secret. Seeing this, the man panicked. He ran after the woman with all his might, stopped her, and promised to give her the wreckage. He said the place was perfect for living. With that, the man started back towards his camp, but the woman refused to budge. She kept asking questions. Finally, the man lost his patience. He shouted loudly, demanding the woman leave. But he couldn't stand it for long. His body was weakened by dehydration. Seeing this opportunity, the woman quickly moved towards his camp. The panicked man picked up a nearby shovel and hit her hard on the head. The woman fell to the ground, and within moments, she stopped breathing. Driven by thirst, the man picked up the woman's water bottle and began drinking in large gulps. When he regained some strength, he dug a large hole and buried the woman's body there. Afterwards, he ate the woman's food to his heart's content. But when he looked back, the scavenger dogs had dragged the body back out. Forced to do so, he chased the dogs away. Then, to destroy the evidence, he gathered wood and burned the body. At night, he stared at the mountain of gold in the distance. Then his satellite phone rang. He answered the call. His companion told him he had found a digging machine, but it would take some time.
The man was almost devastated. Just then, he saw a car passing by in the distance. He immediately hung up, hid behind the tent, and watched the car from afar. He looked at the mountain of gold nearby. He thought for a moment. Finally, greed overcame him. He gave up the chance to call for help. Soon, night fell. He had just gone out to collect wood when suddenly a terrible sandstorm appeared in the distance. He ran for his life, but the strong wind blew his tent away. Now he had nowhere to hide. He tried to hide behind a large piece of gold, but a dead tree broke and fell on him. After the storm ended, he woke up unconscious. A branch had pierced his stomach. Enduring the pain, he managed to get out and frantically searched for the gold. Only when he removed the sand and saw the mountain of gold again did he feel some relief. When he regained some strength, he pulled the branch out of his stomach. To stop the bleeding, he heated an empty container over a fire and applied it to the wound. The pain nearly made him faint. He began to hallucinate. He felt as if the woman he had burned was standing before him, bow and arrow in hand. Gradually, he began to feel that the woman had turned into an evil spirit, seeking revenge. Furthermore, a scorpion had crawled into his wound. But the man no longer cared. He had only one thing on his mind, the mountain of gold. He slowly began to crawl towards the gold. Just then, the satellite phone rang. The man announced that he was about to arrive and urged the man to protect the gold at all costs. The man looked around. He couldn't see the woman anywhere. Then he quickly began to cover the exposed part of the gold with sand. Then suddenly he felt the woman standing before him again. The woman asked, "Aren't you hungry?" The man replied, "No." The woman then replied, "I'll cook you some food." The man said irritably, "Didn't you hear me? I said no." The woman said in a calm voice, "Listen, there's a pool of water nearby. I can take you there. If you keep going like this, you'll die." The man shouted, "Go away." Then he said, "So you didn't recognize me, sister?" Then the truth dawned on him.
The woman standing before him was the twin sister of the woman from yesterday. The man's heart raced, but he took some solace in knowing he had burned the woman's body. Even her bones had been eaten by wild dogs. When the woman found no trace of her sister, she was forced to leave. The man breathed a sigh of relief and fell unconscious. When he woke up again, he saw fires burning all around him. It didn't take long to realize that the woman had lit a fire for him before leaving to keep the wild dogs from approaching. The man realized his mistake, but it was too late. He immediately picked up the satellite phone and called his companion, but the answer was the same: "I'm just about to arrive." Meanwhile, wild dogs waited for the fire to die down. As soon as the flames subsided, the pack pounced on the man. Death loomed ahead. But even in that state, the man's gaze kept returning to the mountain of gold. He refused to let go of it until his last breath. The wild dogs dragged him away. Meanwhile, on a hill some distance away, his companion watched through binoculars. Cigarette butts and empty cans lying on the ground indicated that he had been hiding there for days, meaning he had been deceiving the man from the very beginning. When he saw that the man was dead, he began preparing to descend. Now he could seize all the gold alone. But just as he was about to move forward, an arrow suddenly came from a distance and pierced his companion's chest. He fell to the ground. It was clear. It was the same woman who had fired the arrow. She hadn't gone anywhere. She had been watching everything from afar, waiting for the right moment. Actually, she had come to avenge her sister, and from the very beginning, she was lurking around and keeping an eye on everyone. Her companion thought she was clever, but the real game was being played by someone else. In a short while, he too met his end. In the end, both men were killed because of their own greed. The mountain of gold for which they had put friendship, humanity, and even their lives at stake. That gold was of no use to them, and the treasure they had discovered ended up in someone else's hands. Friends, that's all for today. We will meet in the next video. Subscribe to the channel and like the video. We have set a like target of 200. Complete it. Bye.